It looks like the season's changing. I'm Joseph, this is Input English. Today I'm in the Vasona Lake Park, but what I observe is that things are a little different. We are experiencing gradual change of the season here in Northern California. We had a very hot summer, particularly the late summer, and now that we're moving into fall, the weather is changing. For me, this is very welcome. The leaves are still on the trees. We don't have a lot of leaves on the ground. Some of the trees are changing color. We see more golden and some red leaves, but the trees are not bare by any means. You can see I have my cool weather fedora. I put the Panama hat away because traditionally Panama hats are worn in warm weather. In some locations, it is common for people to avoid wearing Panama hats or light-colored clothing after Labor Day, after early September. Northern California doesn't have any such rules, certainly nothing that anyone pays any attention to. But now it is cool enough that I do have a warm jacket, and it made sense to break out the darker fedora and put the Panama hat away. I was making another video in another area in this park this morning, and I was putting my gear together. I was assembling the camera, the tripod, the microphone, all the stuff that I need to make my video. And during this setup process in the parking lot, a small car pulled up and parked. The fellow got out of the passenger seat and carried a small object away from the car out into the grass near a tree. Well, this naturally caused me to be a little curious, so I watched him to see what he was doing. On closer inspection, the object that he had was a small cage, but it wasn't empty. There was something in it. It was about the size of a small shoebox. It was not big. He went to his intended location next to this tree, and then he manipulated the cage, releasing something. Instantly, I saw a mouse run away from him to get away from him. The mouse had escaped. No, the mouse was released. And then I knew what had happened. This is becoming more popular in the United States. There has been an evolution in the way some people think about creatures that invade our living space. So that allows me to tell you a story. When I grew up, we were taught that bugs, flies, various creatures were unwelcome in the house. My parents didn't want mice in the house. My parents didn't want cockroaches in the house. Now that makes sense. When I grew up, we had a device hanging in the kitchen called a fly swatter. It had a handle and a flat spatula-shaped piece with a bunch of holes in it, and it was used to kill flies. My mom didn't want flies in her kitchen. Understood. The tendency in our household when I was growing up was that a bug of any kind, a spider, any sort of invader of our space, would be quickly dispatched. That is, it would be killed and disposed of. A lot of bugs were flushed down the toilet. Now, as an adult, I have to formulate my own policies. I have to have my own approach. In Northern California, we don't see a lot of cockroaches. I can't remember seeing cockroaches in our house in Northern California ever. So I don't have to worry about that. We do have other kinds of invaders, but my tendency as an adult in my own home is to not kill these creatures. I was taught this by my wife. One day, when we were first together, she quickly went out into the kitchen and grabbed a glass and a piece of paper. I was unfamiliar with what she was doing, so I asked, "What are you up to?" She said, "Oh, I'm catching a spider." She then used the glass to capture the spider on a flat surface and then slid the paper underneath the glass so as to enclose the spider in the glass. She then went outdoors and released it outdoors. She was eliminating it from her surroundings without just killing it. Now, this idea was not entirely foreign to me. When I was a little kid, we would go visit a great aunt who lived perhaps 40 miles away from us. So we would go visit her from time to time. And she had a bathroom in the hallway that frequently was occupied by a very large spider. And the kids were fascinated by that spider. We were a little scared of it. We didn't want to use that bathroom, but it became pretty clear that she had no intention of killing that spider. She was letting it live in her house undisturbed. Over the decades, my wife has caught and released many, many spiders. I can't remember her killing bugs at all. I just don't remember ever seeing that happen. But she released a lot of spiders. More recently, I have advocated for just letting the spiders be. Just leave them alone. Let them do their job. They have a job to do. Just let them do their job. And that policy has been well received by my wife. Occasionally, we would find a spider in the sink. When I was young, that would have prompted me to wash the spider down the sink and get rid of it. But now, I don't do that. What I do is reach down and offer the spider my hand. To my surprise, the spider usually gets onto my hand, allowing me to transfer it out of the sink and onto the counter. It quickly scurries away and disappears. I've rescued a lot of spiders from the sink, and I don't harbor any fear of these spiders. They don't represent a risk to me at all. The other day, I was in the bathroom and I noticed that there was a spider, but this one was not in the sink, it was in the toilet. Again, years ago, my response would have been to flush the toilet. The spider wasn't in the water, the spider was on the bowl inside. And when I looked at that spider, it became pretty clear that the spider would not have been able to rescue itself from that location. But I didn't flush the toilet to get rid of the spider. What I did was reach down, put my hand in the toilet. You can wash your hand, it's not a big deal. I put my hand in the toilet and the spider stepped up onto my hand, walked right onto my hand, and I transferred that spider to the bathroom counter. I thought nothing more of it, but I did notice the color and shape of the spider. It wasn't tiny, it was a substantial spider. Later that day, I noticed that the spider had set up shop, had built a little web at the edge of the counter. That rescue of the spider from the toilet in the bathroom was about 3 weeks ago. Since then, that spider has moved locations several times, but the moves are very small. They're in terms of inches. The spider's current location is under a light. We have an emergency light that provides light if the power goes out. It's also a night light, so when it's dark, that little light comes on so that you can see where you are without turning on the main light. So that spider is now located under that light. The spider is growing. The other day, I saw the spider had recently captured a small insect and was taking care of that food source. I don't know how long that spider will live in our bathroom, but I do know that I have no reason to get rid of it or kill it. I'm just letting it do its job. So today, when I saw that fellow release a mouse into the park, I had to go talk to him and get the particulars. I asked him what he was doing and asked him if he was releasing a mouse which he had trapped in his house. He answered yes, and then volunteered a lot more information. What he told me was that there was no problem releasing a mouse in the park, but they had recommended that the site of the release be several miles, at least 2 miles away from the house. He was told if he released a mouse into the park, and if the park was within 2 miles of his home, that the mouse would likely find its way back. Well, that was great news for me. We live out in the country. In our area, basically all the houses have mice, and I have set traps over the years to get rid of mice. The reality is you can't get rid of all of them. The house can't effectively be sealed. Small rodents are very capable of sliding through very narrow cracks, very small openings, and our house represents a source of food. So the reality of living where we do, we're going to have mice that we will see from time to time. When I get home, I'm going to do some research online because I would like to get a live capture mousetrap like the one this fellow used. I made some mental notes of the appearance of that trap. I know that his trap worked because I saw the result. I saw that he was releasing a mouse and he had trapped it in that trap. So in the future, I may be coming here not only to make videos for comprehensible input, but also to release the occasional mouse that decided to share our home with us. I invite comments below, and if you like videos like this, be sure to click on this one next. See you soon.